champion pool that you're up against someone that probably doesn't respect you as much. I think this is the kind of matchup that Perkz would bust out the LeBlancs like he's shown in the past and just styled upon you. So I think Yusui can really prove his worth in the LCS with a good win here.
All right, well, a very interesting start to this draft. Udyr sent a Karma banned on the Dig side with Kalista, Varus, and Lulu being banned by Cloud9. So both of the common enchanters being taken away. First pick is Xin Zhao for Dardoch. And of course, that means Gwen goes over to Cloud9.
Really valuing that pick without the enchanters. That's a surprising thing to me. I've been seeing the pick be so successful, and I think a big part of it is just the ultimate. When you go in, it actually allows you to not instantly get mowed down, so the enchanters buffed you up, but if Dardoch feels like this is the kind of pick that allows you to accelerate the game quicker, like we saw yesterday. You just quickly gank the bottom lane, get a few kills there. He runs over the game. It becomes very oppressive to deal with, and the itemization right now works so well with him. Whether it's a Divine Sunder or the Gore Drinker that got buffed, it feels like Xin Zhao is in a really good intersection of where the game is at.
All right, well, Dignitas already lining up some nice ones here. We've got Ezreal for King, which is kind of a fun one there. I believe his first play on the champion, at least in the LCS so far here in summer, but Leona going to be the other lock-in for Dig there. So Lee Sin is open if teams want it. I know Akali Lee Sin has been a pretty popular combination, but I feel like Akali and Xin Zhao kind of have similar things. They both want to dive into the enemy team. Xin Zhao can create a ton of space for Akali to go wild, so definitely a good duo regardless of where they end up putting the Akali, whether it's top lane or mid lane.
Their range is just phenomenal too. Normally you'd think Ezreal is a pick that is safe against these kinds of picks, but
no one is safe.
No one is safe from
no one.
Yeah, wind turns to lightning is very dangerous as a skill, so I think that this Ezreal pick will have to be played really well because there's a lot of ways for the Dignitas composition to jump onto the backline, and it seems like Cloud9 is just going to be not only denying the Lee Sin pick, but taking it for themselves. Could be Perkz's. It's a fine matchup into the Akali. You can make sure that you can kick her away when she goes in. You can tag her with your Q, see her into the Shroud. So there's a lot of counterplay that Lee offers into this pick.
Yeah, shout out to Blaze Olive, honestly. Showing off that matchup as Lee Sin into Akali. Definitely can get a lot of mileage there in that 1v1. And I think, as you mentioned, Crumbz, there are lots of different ways Lee Sin can help take some of the sting out of Akali, because boy, oh boy, when he hits you after eating you, you explode.
She is sharp.
All right, well, Volibear, kind of a surprising one, but has been picking up steam both in lane and in jungle. So kind of a cool ban away there from Dignitas. Samira also banned away from Neo. That man is very terrifying on either of these ADs, so I like the respect being given by Cloud9 as Dig's final ban will line up here.
Yeah, I like that a lot, that they're actually respecting Aphro and Neo as a bottom lane that can win the games. These are very aggressive AD carries that can assist in the dive from the already selected 3 picks for Dignitas. So this is an AD carry that just last split you would have not thought to throw any bans against him, but the way that he's been performing has continued to impress. There's still some picks that you could go that can be really deadly with here. I'm looking at champions like the Kalista that he's really proficient with, that work well with the Leona, but it seems like Neo is a player that can play pretty much whatever and perform really well on it. As long as he can go in, I have faith in him.
And alongside Aphro's Leona, who has been also playing very well, both individually and as a 2v2, I feel like Dig are set up very well in the bot lane there. Galio, though, the selection for Cloud9, and based on what we've seen so far, this is probably Galio support, but it could be Galio mid if Lee Sin is going to be flexed over to Blaber. So Cloud9 leaving themselves a lot of options open as Dignitas are going to take Seraphine, going all the way back, Crumbz.
So there were more enchanters in the mid lane. We thought it was only the Karma and the Lulu right now, but the solo lane Seraphine still available, taking advantage of the new Shirelius to buff up the Xin Zhao. So I'm liking this out of Dignitas. They still went down with it, identified what they wanted to play. Seems like that's what they wanted out of their mid lane. We want you to just play enchanters and buff up Dardoch, and this is already a really scary team. I think it's actually just going to be the Seraphine in the bot lane, so Neo is just going to be taking that role to then assist when they start to group up. There's a lot of divers on the solo lanes, though.
Same like kind of thing, right? You know, pick an enchanter, buff up Dardoch. Just make sure the enchanter gets enough gold so Xin Zhao can go off. So Dig continuing to play around the jungle here. Viego last pick for FakeGod, and it was indeed Galio support. Last pick's actually Olaf for Blaber, which is kind of a blast from spring 2020/21. But it's funny, Crumbz, we were chatting backstage before we got on this series, like, what other enchanters can we play to get Shirelius going? And We forgot about Seraphine. Dig, one of the original teams, I think, to bring it out when she was first released. Nice to see them bring it back here.
We just wanted to shut her out of our minds because of how dominant she was in spring. It felt like she had just completely been forgotten with how many games, what incredible presence she had. But now, Neo has already shown that he can play her in the bot lane, and the bottom lane will just be serving as the full assist for the 3-man bruiser dive of the rest of the squad. Seraphine and Leona will offer so much crowd control that I think that's why Blaber goes with the Olaf. He just does not want to deal with getting jumped and immediately gibbed, so just go with something that can shred off the crowd control and keep going.
Yeah, I think I like the pick, actually, as Cloud9 kind of use all their draft flexibility to give Blaber Olaf. Certainly a champion he's very comfortable on, but I think, like you're saying, also one that makes sense given the composition. But speaks volumes about Neo, honestly. Like this, he can play Samira Kaiser and draw out 2 bans in phase 2, but he's also willing to play Seraphine to make sure Dardoch gets the support he needs to go off. This is a really fun draft between these two sides here. Dignitas looking to keep the ball rolling. Cloud9 as well, right? Took some blows in week number 1. Looking to try and shake that off here.
Yeah, and I'm mostly interested to see what Vulcan does with this Galio pick, because when you already saw this in the Akali, they identified, all right, they're going to be diving. They're going to be going after our carries, so let's make sure that we keep them protected. And with the giant amount of AoE crowd control that Vulcan can offer, it's going to be really interesting to see how he uses his spells to peel off Yusui, Dardoch, or even FakeGod from going in. So a lot of responsibilities will fall on Vulcan to win these team fights.
Some early wards being placed. There's one there in the tri-bush for Dig. Didn't quite spot out King or Vulcan, but everyone just making sure they have enough information. Also, the early river ward on the right-hand side of your screen, placed by C9. We'll see if anyone is wandering over to that side of the jungle early on. So a lot of respect being given here. No level 1s, just everyone chilling out as they're going to make their way to their respective lanes.
So excited to see what Blaber does with this Olaf. He was notorious with it last split, and even before that, he was just taking over games entirely. Now, way back, he did have Galio, but in the mid lane to help him out, or any other way to buff him up here. He's kind of left to his own devices. But Dignitas may spot out Fudge if they want to go for something cheeky.
It was kind of a... Ooh, Yusui actually going to walk into it. Fudge going to get snipped. Fudge still going. Are they swapping? Yeah, they are. FakeGod's going to go mid here. Yusui does not want to play until the least in. They're actually trying to dodge the matchup.
Interesting. Yeah, and it looks like Cloud9 is just going to accept it. Fudge already got a good chunk onto him, but Yusui has the Doran shield, so he should be fine in this matchup, although he's not running fleet, so he will have to just wait for the wave and hope to stay in XP range.
Oh, Gwen level 1. That's so brutal. Fudge is completely zoning Yusui off these waves now. I mean, did he even get XP for that creep? I don't think so. Yusui in a world of hurt right now in this early Gwen power that we've become pretty accustomed to early on.
Well, this is a challenge for him, right? You wanted to join the LCS. This is what happens, and it's going to happen when some games you are going to be falling behind. Out of the sacrifice that they took to swap these lanes, he gets caught in the river, so it will be interesting to see how he can recover. Usually in Academy, he does fine if he falls in these situations, often finding avenues to team fight more effectively, so that will have to happen here again, although it might be a bit tougher since the caliber of competition in Cloud9 is a bit higher than what he may be used to.
Yep, I will say Dig's team fighting has definitely been one of their big strength, so excited to see how that works out, especially given the compositions. I mean, team fights are going to be pretty wild in general between these two teams. That's kind of one of the fun things that has emerged from this metagame. Also of note, Fudge actually not taking Ignite this time. Maybe doesn't need it for the matchup, maybe just needs a bit of added safety, but I think this is one of the first Gwens, I think Sumday's the other one I can think of from this split, that has not taken Ignite plus TP. It's Flash instead.
Yeah, it's interesting because you still get a lot of value from just being Gwen with the Flash. The Ignite is useful, but actually having the Flash to use your ultimate or even get a better angle out of your snip is significantly useful. It's not like an Akali that is always going to have her damage guaranteed with how long her range is. Gwen just has that short range hop, so there is a lot of outplay potential with Flash on the Gwen.
Also very excited to see Perkz lose Xin. Definitely a champion he's played quite a bit of, especially in solo queue. Now on the LCS stage up against FakeGod, Viego feeling okay here, but TS is pretty even between these two. We do know that Dardoch is on the left-hand side, but he's just taking that Scott Crab as Blaber. Also power clearing the enemy jungle. Looking to go all the way down to these Krugs. Going to avoid the wave coming in. Could have a wraparound here onto the Dig bottom lane if they want it. These minions, I don't think we'll see him. We'll find out shortly. Indeed, Blaber will pull them away. Oh, Little axe. Spotted on the ground. It's giving it away.
Unless someone is looking, they would not have seen it. So I don't think that without seeing Blaber, they'd have any reason to actually check that, especially since the wave is pushing bottom. It'd be nuts, so if somebody has that foresight to actually check that and spot it, but only now will Dardoch see what just happened. But he even won't take a look at those golems just dying. So he actually won't have an idea of where Blaber was at.
Sees it on the ground again. Barely misses the cancel on that one. Blaber had the little shred of immunity that you get when recalling.
So close. You know, I think he might have actually gotten a proc on his Conqueror to know that he just based. So he might have an idea on where Blaber is at, that he just finished his recall. So he should know with that information when his Krugs will spawn, and that Blaber is interested in going to the top side, who's just been power farming beastly. So we'll see if something happens here in the top side as both junglers are in the area, and with the top lane pushing for Yusui, there could be an interest in action, although Dardoch continuing to prioritize the Perkz lane.
It's one of the things in these melee matchups. Have to be careful sometimes. Not so easy to get the wave pushed out. Even though Lee Sin's Tempest does do pretty good work of it. Dardoch is going to wrap around mid here. Perkz in trouble. W hits, in goes Dardoch, and Perkz will respectfully flash away. Now Yusui and Blaber are going to do battle, but Blaber more than equipped for this fight. Good E over the wall, but Blaber finds the axe for a bit of extra damage.
Yeah, good that he was already sniffing out that Blaber was in the top side. His wave was such an indication that there could be some trouble, and knowing that Dardoch was in the mid lane, I think he played it a little bit safer as well. So good on both solo laners, respectively, to dodge out of their ganks. And so far, we've got a pretty quiet early game, except that Cloud9 is more than happy to have some of these CS advantages that they currently have. And we'll both have the teams trusting each other in the team fighting prowess. Every time this happened with Seraphine in the past, Seraphine just ran over the game, but she's a bit weaker now, so we'll have to see if this actually pays off for Dignitas.
All right, well, super speed dragon hit for Cloud9. Going straight for it here under 6 minutes. This is an Olaf classic in general, and Cena have the push in bottom lane, have a little bit of room, and I'll probably suspect the reset timers as well, so more than enough here to take this Mountain Dragon out. Blaber actually going to finish it off with no additional help required, just had his team nearby it. Potion not going to do enough. Blaber goes in for the last little swing of the axe, but does cut down the Drake.
It's an Olaf classic, yet sometimes it feels like it's more than anything a Blaber classic. No one's been doing Olaf like he has. His decision to just prioritize farming and objectives, and with how good he is at specifically just microing the camps, he gets so many extra seconds clearing that it allows him the extra time to actually just power farm and get so much farther ahead than his counterpart. Although the current meta with catch-up XP may be a bit tougher for him to pull significantly far ahead, as we have our first potential 3v3 in the top side.
Almost everyone's up here, actually. Vulcan already roamed up here looking for the taunt. Good there, finds 3 now. Blaber in, exhausted at first blood, ready for Fudge. Aphromoo so low, looking to get melted, but not dead just yet as Blaber goes in, but Dardoch takes him out. Now the numbers reset. Here is Dig actually with the advantage. Now Neo looking to move in with those Qs, but Perkz doing so much work already. Vulcan re-engages, finds Aphro. Finally, that kill will be secured as Vulcan by the 2-man taunt. In they go as Perkz nabs himself the double kill. And Yusui left alone. It's only him and FakeGod left alive. And Cloud9 maybe looking to hunt this kill, but maybe not. FakeGod back in biz here. TP's back to the mid lane as Yusui finds the relative safety of the tower. But how safe is he? As Vulcan and Perkz are still here.
They want to go for him. If he commits some spells in this wave, he's a little bit low on energy.
Off they go. Vulcan, ooh, almost hits the E, but doesn't quite get it. Good flash from Yusui. Perkz right on the money with that Q.
Whew. That wasn't even around Rift Herald. That was actually just the support roaming.
True, it didn't even spawn.
Yeah, they just wanted to fight. The supports just made their way up to the top side. Even Seraphine made her way down there. So it looked like they were just fighting for vision and the Scuttle Crab. And Cloud9 ends up winning out so much from that fight. So they have vision control over the Pixel Brush at the moment. And in fact, they just have Neo up here roaming up, but there's no level 6s available. And Fudge already is 6. Perkz hits 6. It makes a big disadvantage in this fight for Dig.
Oh, what a temper set by Perkz, almost taking out Dardoch. And then Vulcan, really the star of this one for me.
Yeah, this flash taunt right at the end was just so impactful for him. Yusui's, they're pretty lucky that Perkz did not have a ward to continue going over and chasing, but that's a fight that Dignitas has to be avoiding. It's something that has happened for them in the past, is that they fall behind in the early game and then find their way through team fights later on. That's what these champions are supposed to do, but it's going to be more and more difficult since Cloud9 has actually drafted keeping that in mind and will be able to just face tank much of what these divers want to do and then re-engage like we just saw.
Yeah. As it is though, Cloud9 up approaching 3,000 gold under 9 minutes, which is pretty spectacular for them. Also, Perkz is 2-0-2 on the Lee Sin, so his gold drinker is going to be coming up real quick at this stage of the game. Pretty happy in whatever side lane he ends up in. Actually, fun fact, we've semi-swapped the lanes back. Actually, Gwen is bottom lane right now, as Yusui and Aphro are going to be the new duo here in mid, but again, they're going to be pretty fluid here with wherever they want to go. Perkz especially basically looking to hunt down anyone who wants to fight him at this point.
And it looks like with that swap, which was perhaps the initial intent behind that earlier fight, we're just going to have more vision wars continuing to happen. Vulcan is not level 6 yet, and when that happens, C9 will just have Blaber being so much more aggressive. He'll be able to go into the jungle knowing that he can have help from the skies, and now they've isolated Yusui. It's a 4-man dive onto him. Dardoch sees it. Yusui does have the Shroud, but against 4 people, he has to respect it.
Yeah, 4v2 Vulcan again, looking to find the angle. Yusui, so much mobility, ease away. But now the Rift Tower is going to be dropped. That's a bunch of extra gold there to King and Fudge. And that's going to be first tower for Cloud9 as well. So this gold lead's getting really out of hand.
They are pushing the pace of this game faster than Dignitas can answer. Just now does FakeGod crash the wave, but there's nothing, and there's a fight on Dardoch.
Dardoch again, maybe found Blaber looking for it. Does land a Q at the end as the ulti wears off. Dardoch was forced to commit that in order to stay alive.
That's a key ultimate, though. The fact that he really needs that to face check and make sure that if he gets caught, he doesn't die, will make Dignitas more hesitant when it comes to finding vision and reclaiming their jungle.
Well, one plate for FakeGod is going to get it there as Fudge returns to lane. But again, Perkz not fighting Neo. He's feeling good about that matchup. He's 3 levels ahead of poor Seraphine.
She's just there for the Shurelius. That's really what she's. She just wants one item. She's just hoping to farm, and then when that happens, then they can start grouping up. They'll probably have to concede this dragon, though. The item advantage currently on Cloud9 is just massive. You already have multiple mythics completed for them. You've got the Gore Drinker and the Divine Sunder in particular for King. That's just such a big spike right now when not a single member on Dignitas has any mythic completed. They'll just have to give this one up and look to take fights when they're better geared.
Yeah, obviously not been paying too much attention to what's happening at bottom lane because all the action has been on the top side, but King farming just fine. Neo doing okay, but maybe as expected, King getting a little bit of an early edge. Probably has something to do with the fact that Neo did roam. King didn't. It was Vulcan that did all the work in that top side for Cloud9. King wasn't required, so C9 will indeed use all this general strength they have to take their second dragon of the game, and with how quickly Olaf took the first one, Cloud9 on a very good pace to take the first 4 dragons swiftly here if Dignitas can't answer. Already 4,000 gold ahead now for Cloud9.
Dignitas is not able to answer the team fights because they're down in items and even in the side lanes, but Blaber is by himself.
Here we go again, Ragnarok pop, Vulcan though finds 2 with the taunt. Ezreal ulti's not going to hit Dardoch there. But now on the front side, it's Vulcan that's in trouble. He will be left for dead. FakeGod now. He's Galio. In he goes, looking at E forward. But Taunt not going to find it. King and Blaber will take the blast going out to safety. Nice pick there for Dig getting one back.
Seems like Dig is just now starting to roam as a unit to make sure that they can catch Cloud9 doing what they just tried, which was countering the jungle, getting deeper vision. They see Blaber force out the ultimate, and Vulcan trying to save him ends up biting the dust as well. Perkz should be fine, though. His ward hop will be available.
Why Perkz is here, I don't know. Kick there for Aphro into the wall, but Perkz still going, flashes out. But was on a real solo mission there.
Didn't need to do any of that one, actually. Could have just saved that flash and easily ward hopped over, as he already has a control ward in his inventory. But hey, he just wanted to test out his new Gore Drinker, see what it's all about, using it in front of a bunch of melee champions. Just burns the flash, though, still lives, and will go back to the bot side as he now has Blaber shadowing him, allowing him to continue this push by himself. He could still take down FakeGod with his damage advantage. So just making sure that he has Blaber allows him to be even more aggressive, and with Vulcan right behind him, this really is just a Lee Sin with 2 people backing him up.
Yeah, Mythic's also done on the Dig side now. Divine Sunder finished up for Dardoch, and interestingly, Moonstone back on the menu here for Neo. Not going to be the battle song this time around.
There's a lot of sustain on this lineup, so Cloud9 will have to keep that in mind when they take these fights, because their itemization to include grievous wounds isn't that easy to pull off. So if one of these fights happens where Dignitas just gets to continue to abuse the Moonstone healing, it can catch Cloud9 off guard. So they have to know that this is something that will continue to get worse, and that they'll have to start prioritizing healing reduction, or else these fights could just go on forever with Neo keeping Dig alive.
All right, well, that's certainly the Dig plan. Again, they are very far behind in this game, but Still plenty left to play here. 14 minutes in. Cloud9 still holding about 4K up. They'll play for that third dragon in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Is going to be their third if they can nab it. Also an Infernal Soul very swiftly on the way for them if they can claim all the Drakes in a row, which is a pretty nice prize for taking Dragon pre-6 minutes is Olaf.
Ezreal loves that one. The other champions,
Who doesn't love Infernal Soul?
I think actually even the Galio, everyone's got damage, so it's just a beautiful ultimate, especially when you see that damage proc hit. That's the most satisfying, where you don't you hurt.
King is getting in there. Neo feeling the pain. Moonstone going to have to do some overtime here. The King does not get the kill. Good poke though.
Ooh. It's really going to allow them now to push in the mid lane. There's not a good amount of wave clear on this Dignitas side, so even if Cloud9 doesn't commit to attacking the turret, it just buys them so much time to go into the jungle. There's no AoE spells that can be thrown at a distance that keeps them safe from the poke, so they always are going to take some damage if Cloud9 is to siege, and that just makes the Cloud9 pressure that much more relentless if they start poking out Dig members.
Well, the gold Cloud9 have as well. Just so much space in these side lanes. Perkz is basically solo taking this tower up against Yusui. Does have Vulcan in the back pocket just in case. But Gwen, I mean, we know how good she is in a side lane. Fudge is also taking over the bottom half of the map up against FakeGod. And the bot tier 2 is actually relatively low already as Blaber and Vulcan will see that ward outside the Herald pit. They are looking to take the Herald for themselves. As King has also got himself a blue buff. I believe that's the enemy blue, Crumbz.
Yeah, they've got everything. They run this jungle right now. Dignitas really does not want to take a fight with fair numbers. They are hoping that Cloud9 overextends, but their members aren't even that easy to catch. There's a lot of mobility, a lot of damage and survivability thus far, and when you also have the teleports available, anywhere that they look to take a fight, Cloud9 will be quick to respond. So they just have to take the backseat and hope that Cloud9 presents an opportunity where they can pounce like they did against Blaber and they caught Vulcan. But those are far and few in between as Cloud9 is playing methodical this game.
Perkz is just denying as many minions here as he can.
Love it.
It's a jerk move, but an effective one as Perkz going to find FakeGod in the mist in just a moment. But again, Perkz is not afraid of anyone in a 1v1 right now.
He's so tanky too. He already has the Merc Treads too, so that will keep him alive. If Aphromoo and Neo want to show up with the kick to disengage, he can continue to play aggressive. And in fact, he'll just take a recall right now, get a little bit tankier, make sure that Dardoch or FakeGod won't be able to burst him down. And already the Grievous Wounds are coming out. Has that Bramble Vest available, and with this Rift Herald, Cloud9 will be able to keep Dignitas at bay and make them stick to their turret while they collect their third dragon for free.
A really nice bit of timing here. So much space created here for Cloud9. They've got lights completely off in the bottom half as well. Great toggle there, observers, as Cloud9 just have so much vision. King's like doing it over the wall with Blaber. And it's going to be a dragon that I don't think Dig can contest. And Dig with Fudge having all this room in bottom side, Cloud9 have set it up beautifully.
This has been something that has been criticized at a Dignitas, is that sometimes they feel like they haven't been looking for much action. But this game in particular, the options really are so limited. Cloud9 is playing so well in just matching every single side lane, making sure that they have the vision on the members that can make a play. And since those two are limited to Neo and Aphro, as long as they've got eyes on those, they know that nobody else on Dignitas can really go for a play. They're going after Perkz, so just use his W.
Lee Sin pretty tricky to kill. Kick there. Oh, good. As Dardoch does ulti as well. Immune's a knockup that will come through. FakeGod finds the shutdown. Now going to possess old Perkzy as Fudge TPs to the top side to try and save his mid lane, but way too late for that one.
Almost outplayed it. He actually lived so long with the Gorge Drinker, but they still will lose that mid lane turret. So Cloud9 is getting the objective advantage here with Fudge teleporting to the top side. He will protect that tower. So you did get the shutdown, but Cloud9 continues to advance their pressure as a result of such a commitment from Dignitas in the top.
Yep, definitely worth there on the Cloud9 side, but Dig's still getting some gold. Very important for them to find whatever they can, because any gold is good for them right now, given the advantage Cloud9 have been building. Still up 5,000 gold on the Cloud9 side, so it is not an easy task for Dignitas to try and make something happen. But at least finding a little bit of room here, finding Perkz on the top side. That's the productivity you do want to see. Again, every little shred of gold matters right now.
They finally have those mythics completed too, so it came right on time as they will have to take this next fight. And it's going to be one of those fights that should be prioritized around winning the actual fight and not the objective, despite it being an Infernal Soul. A fight that you win here because it's 3 minutes from now, You win hard enough, you can get a Baron out of that one. And you can really start clawing your way back. So they should set their sights on that, and that will have to prioritize vision and making sure that, hey, if a fight doesn't even happen, if you just catch a few members out of Cloud9 before those key ultimates come through, that's the kind of advantage that you need to win. It's a bit of a Hail Mary, but you have to go for it right now, or else Cloud9, with that Infernal Soul Ezreal, is just going to poke you to death.
Yeah, we're building up to a very quick soul. As you said, Crumbz, going to be about 22 minutes on the Infernal Soul of Cloud9. Get it. 2-item Ezreal is done. Gwen is on the way to Nash's as well, and I'm sure Perkz isn't that far away from his second item either, so it's going to be predictably a good spot for Cloud9 to pick a fight here, but Dig have to make some sort of stand, whether it's a steal attempt, whether it's just a straight pick, whether they really just throw it all at the wall and go for a 5v5 team fight. But Dignitas, no, in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, they need to make a play.
Yeah, and at least they've seen that they actually can kill Perkz, so they have a member that they can go after. Xin and FakeGod have enough damage together. It's going to be a little bit slower now that the Bramble Vest is completed, but that should give them the confidence to actually look for something, and they can tank some of this poke. Not much, though. You got to still be careful there, Afro. The Moonstone is powerful, but not powerful enough to shrug off all of King's damage.
And King has so much safety. He's surrounded by 4 people, but I don't think they can really kill him with this tower here. So he maybe will try and look for the angle, but it's going to be a tough one here to try and move Ezreal out of his little kingdom here in mid. Oh, don't go too close. King knows.
Oh, he just saw him, I think.
Yeah, now sees Yusui, but going to shift away. Yusui looking for it. Galio, though, going to save the day. Very nice from Vulcan there to protect his AD. And Cloud9 going to disengage pretty swiftly. 1:30 still to set up for this Drake.
Yeah, I think Galio will have his ultimate back up, and he now has his locket, so it's going to be so much tankiness for the side of Cloud9. They are entirely geared up to win this next fight and run away with the game. It's looking dire for for Dignitas, rather. That ultimate, that look, you got to do that. Maybe oh, whoa. That one will really sting. I don't think that one will come back up for this dragon fight, Pastry.
Unfortunate misclick there for Neo, but Dignitas, again, they just have to brush it off. A tough game for sure, but this is the spot you need to fight. 60 seconds until the Infernal Soul is available for Cloud9.
Oh, that one really hurts. That's a major ultimate that would have won you a fight. You could catch 5 members on that and actually lock them down. So more than ever, it's going to be upon Aphromoo to find a pick. Maybe Dardoch and FakeGod can look for something. The good news is I don't think Cloud9 saw it, but they're already surrounding Yusui.
This is really nice from Cloud9. Attacking a potential spot here. Perkz does get the reveal with the E, but now the TP is coming in. Cloud9, they take the tower, they take the teleport cooldown. That's more than enough for a little bit of pressure there.
There won't be a flank down, but they're committing to this. They want to keep going, yet Aphromoo is not in the area. King is now making his way onto the Dragon Pit. He will be starting to poke from the side. Dardoch still hasn't been spotted, so maybe he can find an angle to engage.
King is a little bit late, but does make it in time for the fight, as you can see on your screen. Ulti for Neo, also not up yet. Fudge now looking to maybe get in there. Immunes the root out of Seraphine's E with the Gwen W, but the cooldown's pretty long on that one. As Cloud9 again setting up. They know Dignitas are going to come to fight them.
Yeah, but I don't think Cloud9 knows that the Seraphine ultimate is down, so Dig wants to buy some time. Dardoch can go for a flash steal, but that would lose them Baron if he dies.
Perkz found a pick maybe on Yusui. No, not yet. Yusui diving back in. Ulti back up for the Akali. Perkz now a little bit low, but still fighting. Yusui has the gold drinker ready as well. FakeGod looking for King, but now Cloud9 moving in there. Fudge already took down Dardoch, and now Fudge is still fighting. Yusui gets that kill as well. Now Perkz gets it. It's King, actually, that takes out FakeGod's Viego, and Perkz is just tanking everyone. Now they've got the Infernal Soul. C9 can do no wrong as the gold drinker pops. King grabs himself the double kill. Perkz pops up the Happy Bee to take down Aphromoo, and it's just an absolute massacre around the Dragon Pit for Cloud9. This is rude. Takes the cannon before the support.
What Fudge just did there was illegal. What in the world was that? He dashed into 3 people, eliminates the jungler, then takes out the mid laner, and then just wins the fight for the team flat out by himself. Didn't even have the Galio ultimate for that. That was ridiculously well played out of this Gwen. That was so clutch. There was no opportunity for Dignitas to even think of engaging. Cloud9 just pulled the trigger first and just obliterated Dig.
And they get Baron off that as well, so we take a look at the bot line. Ace, Fudge just going off here.
Yeah, okay, so they're grouped up right now with Akali on the side, but then what can you do? The Xin is just by himself. Akali's not inside the Shroud, then eliminates her instantly. Ridiculous damage, while the rest of the squad gets eliminated on the bot side. That was so well played from the Gwen.
This is not okay.
It's not? It really isn't. but we watched it. And we encourage it, because that's the kind of play that shows the individual prowess that these players have.
Is a fun little one there as Perkz and Aphro have a little bit of a dance-off. Aphro knew what was going on. Galio ulti, they're going to try and save Perkz, kicks him out of there. Dignitas still fighting. 3v5 though, I think, for Blaber gets Neo and Cloud9. The wallet's just too big. There's nothing Dignitas can do. It's another Bud Light ace, Crumbz.
And they're going to end the game from this one. The spawn timers, the wallets, everything has lined up from Cloud9. And in a signature Blaber Olaf play, flashing over the wall to just use a reckless swing on the rest of the squad. Cloud9 will obliterate Dignitas in under 25 minutes. This was a definite dominant win. They are back on form.
Fudge is filthy, man. 21 Magi stacks as Cloud9 are going to slap down the Nexus to end their week 2. And what a game to finish off their weekend.
They are well practiced with the Gwen pick. They have the meta picks down. They had less time than everybody else, but it clearly is showing that they have not missed a beat in catching up to speed with how to execute on these power picks. Once they got that lead on that top river fight, they never let go. It felt like Dignitas was entirely suffocated. Cloud9 played so well around their solo lanes and using the Galio to make sure there was never an option that Dignitas could take.
That's a great coordinated for Cloud9. The reason I'm laughing is if you've never seen Fudge in real life, he is so tall.
Yeah.
Like, way taller than you could possibly think a human is legally allowed to be. And they actually coordinated so Fudge could send on the little... Perkz could send on the little lip of the stage so they could all be lined up to take the vow together. That is true teamwork out of Cloud9.
Without Sven, he looks even bigger. Because Sven is very tall, but now he's just standing like a giant. And he was giant this game. He really was.
That was a really dirty Gwen performance out of Fudge. I mean, again, I think you said it right there, Crumbz. Cloud9 just understand these picks, right? This is a team that is always willing to try the new champions, right? Always wanting to be flexible, having lots of different picks. Even the fact that they just gave them Akali. Like, Akali is so powerful.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, have it. We think we can beat it.
They gave them Akali, but then they had the answer right away, right? So they understood which one would work into it. The Lee Sin as the answer to it. The Galio as well, I thought was really useful to making sure that Akali could just never get in. If Dignitas got off to a hot start, the Galio would still serve as a great peel tool against it. So I think they had an idea of what Dignitas wanted to go for and just stopped it right from the draft and executed even better on it.
And then it gets better because the lane swap happened and Cloud9 said, sure.
Yeah.
Fudge could play the matchup, that's fine. He like, right?
He won the matchup from the river, right? He caught the Akali and then immediately just never stopped pressuring Yusui, who had to lane swap top. So he had an advantage from the top lane that just carried it through the game.
Yeah, I mean, tough to like not just praise Cloud9 for the next 5 minutes because it just I feel like everything did well. Again, we didn't even need to talk about the bottom lane. Vulcan though deserves a ton of credit for really getting the snowball rolling in that game. I'm with you. I guess it was just setting up for the Rift Trail because it hadn't even spawned yet.
Yeah.
But Vulcan's had back-to-back taunts just in that play alone that basically said the game's over.
And that's the kind of play that you love to see from your support, just roaming and assisting in the solo plays in an unexpected way. Because it's often the supports that get to roam first that just influence those fights that are breaking out between solo lanes. And suddenly you're just pinging your own support. Where is my guy? But he's just a second behind, and that second can make all the difference.
All right, so Crumbz, we're learning week on week as the meta evolves, as these different champions get picked. Who would you rather first pick now, Akali or Gwen?
Gwen. I'm still going Gwen. That was just filthy. She can engage. That's the key from Gwen. She can engage and not actually get instantly gibbed, whereas Akali has to be so much more precise with who she goes after.
Also fun that, again, Galio, the only protection. No enchanters on the Cloud9 side, but apparently not needed. We are going to head over to the stage, though, where the Tigress will be talking with us